This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222.
If a woman has an 8 centimeter cyst in the ovary, is it necessary to have it removed before IVF?
Yeah, I think 8 centimetres I would be keen to have it removed for a couple of reasons. Firstly, those size cysts can twist the ovary and you end up losing the ovary. Secondly, it'd be good to know that it was a benign cyst, and therefore at 8 centimetres I would certainly make a move on it. And probably my border is 4 to 5 centimetres. Anything above that, I think, should be removed before starting an IVF cycle. Yes.
And this is a follow-up question. How will the presence of fibroids affect the IVF procedure and monitoring going forward?
In terms of monitoring, IVF shouldn't be a problem unless they're massive, where we can't get an ultrasound view of the ovaries because of the size of the fibroids. But in general terms, that's not going to interfere with monitoring. In terms of fertility, the fibroids that we're interested in are the ones that impinge on the cavity of the uterus. And we see those when we do the hycosi or sonohystogram, when we put fluid into the cavity of the uterus and see whether if there's any irregularities caused by the fibroids. But if that's all clear, then fibroids really don't have any impact on fertility.
Follow-up question from Jen. Will the cyst impact the implantation or pregnancy rates?
After you've had it removed, no. But if in the meantime, it can make monitoring of that ovary difficult with other follicles growing, which is what you want. In terms of pregnancy, probably doesn't make any, in terms of implantation, it probably doesn't make any difference unless it's producing hormones itself. And some of these cysts can be producing progesterone prematurely at the wrong time of the cycle. So it may have an impact there.
What causes ovarian cysts in young females? What medications, if any, do you have to dissolve these cysts? And what size of an ovarian cyst is dangerous?
So first of all, start with the last question. There is no real size that's dangerous. As I said earlier, the bigger they are, the more chance they have that they'll twist the ovary, cut off its blood supply, and potentially lead to the loss of that ovary. So that's the main reason that we go and attack the bigger ones. I've said already that my dividing line, and I think it's pretty much everybody's, it's something around 4 to 5 centimetres we wouldn't touch, but bigger than that I would be concerned about. In terms of why do they form, probably most of them are what's called persistence of a follicle from a previous cycle. So normally the follicle grows and at about 2 centimetres it ruptures to let the egg out, and after that it shrinks and goes away. If that ovulation hasn't occurred, it may just continue to grow. That follicle begins to grow and turns into a cyst. There are women who produce cysts on a regular basis and no one quite knows why, but mostly it's a random event.
And do you have any medications to get rid of them?
Because they're mostly related to follicles, if we suppress the stimulation of follicle growth, so we might put someone on the pill for 6 weeks to see whether that suppresses it, because that switches off the pituitary hormones. That's one approach. The second is to give a dose of LH. So when a woman ovulates, or what causes the follicle to rupture in a natural cycle is a surge of the hormone called LH. And so by giving a single shot of LH or an LH equivalent, we may trigger that ovulation process, and therefore it ruptures and we get rid of it that way. So there are a couple of things to try.
And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.